Now for the wide base good mornings and the narrow base good mornings, primarily the same joint actions are being used, which is the hip hinge. This movement occurs at the hip joint as you bend your waist or hinge at your hips, engaging the hip extensors, which includes the glutes and the hamstrings as you lower your torso. Another major joint action that's being used is the knee flexion and knee extension. There's minimal knee flexion, which your knees should be slightly bent as you lower your body, and then knee extension, which includes straightening your knee that occurs as you perform the good morning exercise. Another major joint action that's being used is spinal flexion and extension. Spinal flexion occurs as you bend forward, and extension occurs as you return it back to your neutral position. Some muscles that are involved when doing the good morning exercise is the erector spinae, which are the muscles that goes along your spine, and they're there to keep your spine or your back upright. It also helps extends your spine and plays an important role in maintaining the spine neutral. Another muscle that's involved in this exercise is the gluteus maximus, which is heavily engaged during the hip extension while doing the good morning exercise. It's responsible for the backward movement of your hip as you return to your neutral position. The hamstrings are also included as you work to bend your knees and extend your hips. The adductor magnus is located on the inner thigh, assists in hip extension and stabilization during the good morning exercise. The gastrocnemius and soleus are the calf muscles, which help stabilize your ankles during the exercise, but they're not really being targeted. They just help stabilize and help maintain your balance. The purpose of this exercise is that good mornings targets and activates the posterior chain, which includes muscles along the backside of your body, like the upper back, lats, and the calves. But it also strengthens your glutes and your hamstrings. It increases core stability and promotes better structure, and it can help with muscle imbalances. Some errors that occurs in the wide base good mornings and the narrow base good mornings are that you can have a rounded back, so you don't want your back to be too rounded as you bend forward, which is called protraction. You want your back to be straight and maintain a neutral spine as you perform the exercise. Hyperextension also occurs in the back. Sometimes people are just going to hyperextend and keep and arc their back excessively at the top. Again, we're going to want to maintain a neutral spine. Another error that people do when performing this exercise is knees being locked. Locking the knees can put unnecessary strain on the knee joints. They should be slightly bent. Another error is that what people do is starting with too much weight, which can lead to injury. People should start low and add more weight gradually. Finally, two last errors that people could do for the wide base good mornings is that their feet can either be too far apart or too close. And then again, same thing for the narrow base. Their feet can either be too far or too close to each other. For the wide base, you're gonna want it to be shoulder width apart. And then for the narrow base, you're gonna want your feet to be hip width apart.